Hello. On behalf of Thunder Technologies LLC, a GCP technology partner, thank you for attending my brief talk on disaster recovery for cloud applications in 15 minutes. After the talk, I'm also available for chat or can follow up via email or Twitter. But let's get started. The cloud needs DR just like on-premise data centers because no data center, whether your own or Google's, is immune from natural disasters, political events, or even software upgrade issues. The only mention of pandemics in this talk is perhaps to lump that in too, but DR is necessary regardless of what is happening. However, if something happens to a Google data center, there will be many workloads affected, so you should empower yourself to protect your own applications as self-sufficiently as possible. The chance, of course, is extremely low, so you should weigh the cost-benefit ratio when making decisions. In this talk, I will outline the steps that you can perform manually to protect your applications yourself, and introduce our product which automates the same procedures for a very low price. First though, I want to address the concept of multi-zone, in which replica applications are provisioned in a different zone in the same region, and a load balancer can route traffic in case of a failure. This is often touted as disaster recovery because data is copied for free between zones by GCP. However, there are two issues to consider. First, how far apart are these zones? Even if they are, say, tens of miles away, here in Northern California, an earthquake can easily compromise both. But more importantly, it is nearly impossible to model and test a failover in this case. While the graphic on the right looks promising, without seeing it operate in person, or at least a reasonable simulation, it's hard to inspire confidence that it will work for your particular use case. Instead, region-to-region replication covers a much larger range of threats and can be plausibly modeled, as I will eventually show. In order to perform cross-region disaster recovery, you can perform a series of steps in the GCP console or with the gCloud CLI, all of which use standard GCP supported functionality. All of the following information is detailed in our white paper and YouTube channel, links of which are on our website, www.thundertech.io, in the technical support section, and which will be in the chat window. Like this webinar, we share without requiring any sort of registration. To protect a mission-critical virtual machine in your production region, the first step is to create a replica of the VM in a different region. To do so, take a snapshot of the VM's disks and mark them as region-based snapshots to be created in the DR region of your choice, in this graphic from US West 2 to US West 1. Once the snapshots are complete, launch an instance based off of those snapshots, which will create an identical copy of the production VM, taking care to place it in a similar VPC, for example public or private, and open the same firewall so clients can eventually connect. Google takes care of the licenses and subscriptions for the new instances automatically. Ideally, power it on to make sure it works, then power it off to save on execution costs. Going forward, to keep the replica up to date, continue to take region-based snapshots of your primary copied to the DR site. However, instead of creating a new replica from the snapshots, since one already exists, create a disk from each snapshot. Then detach the existing disks from the DR virtual machine and attach the new disks with the latest data. Continue to perform this regularly and try to test after each replication job. You will be charged by Google for the cross-region replication, but only the differences are replicated, so the cost depends on the amount and frequency of data sent. If there is a failure, merely power on the DR instance. You've already tested it after each job. Cloud DNS can be used to resolve host names to the new IP addresses of the DR instances if using public IPs. Perform the same steps for all mission-critical instances. We have a 5-minute YouTube video that outlines these steps with live screen captures, but I'll highlight a few of them here since the GCP console is very extensive and sometimes the locations are not always intuitive. Snapshots can be created from the page describing the block device attached to a virtual machine. When creating a snapshot, you can specify the region to which it is copied. Once the snapshot is complete, you can launch an instance off of that snapshot in that region to create an original replica. For the ongoing replication, create a disk at the DR region for each replicated snapshot in the disks entry of the Compute Engine console. As the source type, select a replicated snapshot. To swap the new disk with the replica VM's existing disk, edit the virtual machine and delete the existing disk by clicking the X next to the disk. Then add a new disk, selecting the one just created. Failover and testing, of course, is just powering on and off the replica virtual machine. Network failover can be achieved by updating record sets in Cloud DNS, in this case taking the mapping to the primary and updating the IP address with the IP of the online secondary. Clients will redirect when the time to live expires. I mentioned testing because disaster recovery failover has to work the first time with no facepalm moments. For region-based replication, merely powering on the DR instance regularly is a practical test. It requires no cooperation from the primary region and works whether the primary is available or not. If using the CLI, perform any operations only specifying the DR region. You can even test DNS failover by updating a dummy address on the DR instance. For multi-zone, it is unknown if everything will work the same if a single zone is down or not, or if there are any operations needed to do a failover. As there is no way to model it, Google certainly won't turn off a zone just for you to find out. You might be thinking that this is all a lot of work to do manually, especially because of the multiple steps involved that must be performed regularly on all your mission-critical instances, and scripting it yourself would take equally precious time out of your busy day. There are solutions that will automate these steps for you. Because the steps they are automating are straightforward and can be demonstrated in a 5-minute YouTube video, it makes sense that they should not cost a lot. If choosing an automation solution, consider how much you should pay. On the right side shows GCP's cost calculator for a reasonably modest workload and its monthly cost. If you look at some solutions on GCP Marketplace, their disaster recovery cost can be a significant portion of the monthly spend. You might have doubts about this because first, the risk is low, and second, the logic to enable DR is straightforward, as I've just shown. Our product, Thunder for GCP, conversely, is just a $20 per month subscription, plus the cost to host our small VM in your DR region to drive the replication and failover. In this example, Thunder for GCP is just 1% of the monthly spend, a reasonable premium for what you might call catastrophic insurance. If your monthly costs are higher, given our flat fee, the percentage will be even lower. We chose the fee based on the 1% maximum you should pay for insurance, and the fact that we are competing really against your time spent doing it yourself. With our product, Thunder for GCP, from a single intuitive interface, you can provision DR replicas, schedule ongoing snapshot replication, configure optional deep testing, which will not only power on DR replicas, but attempt to connect to applications such as MySQL, and provides a one-button failover in case of an outage. This is all for a flat $20 per month subscription, regardless of the number of instances protected, with no commitment, and the fee is prorated, so if you try it out for a week and it doesn't meet your needs, your cost will be $5 in subscription, plus any cost to run the VM and replicated data. To be honest, some potential customers are suspicious of our low price. How can we provide an enterprise-level solution for the price similar to phone and tablet apps? The reason is clear if we open our accounting books to you. Simply put, we have essentially no overhead because we focus completely on cloud-based solutions. So we buy no equipment, pay no rent, we need only limited corporate infrastructure. We simply pay state taxes, a street address, and not even GCP costs because given Google's wise strategy of encouraging startups by providing cloud credits. We need no venture capital, and our addressable market is the ever-growing GCP customers, as well as AWS customers. We support them too with our product Thunder for EC2. The cloud not only upends the economics of software development, but makes available substantial enterprise-level capabilities that in the past required complicated, expensive programming. A few examples are strong passwords, which Google provides as part of their solution development kit, a cloud solution that scans for vulnerabilities in a software-as-a-service solution like ours, and granular IAM roles so that Thunder for GCP is given only the minimum permissions required to perform its replication and failover operations and no more. Quite simply, we don't need to develop these features ourselves. In a nutshell, you may be moving to the cloud to increase the operational efficiency of your business. You should demand your vendors do the same. Also, it's worth pointing out you don't need to buy all of your solutions from the same type of vendor. Just like you choose from different classes of stores for different classes of items, for infrastructure solutions you might do the same. The core mission-critical apps might come from high-end stores like the one at the top. If you're outside the US, this is a high-end department store. But you probably wouldn't buy your survival gear there, more likely the one at the bottom. DR is survival gear. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. The YouTube video and white paper with similar information is available at the links, which are on our website, www.thundertech.io, and also in the chat window. We never require registration or email addresses in order to access our information because our message and our mission is simple, and spamming you with upsells would be pointless. All of the tools to protect your mission-critical applications exist within the GCP console itself, and if you have the time and inclination, you can leverage them yourself. But if your time is constrained, we provide a cost-effective DR automation for the public cloud with no commitment pricing, so you can protect your cloud applications with only a minimal addition to your monthly spend. Thanks again, and I can unmute now if you want to ask questions, or you can address them in the chat window.